Twitter files, they're back. Sorry if that was really loud. I realized how close my mouth was to the mic. Twitter files number 19, the great COVID-19 lie machine, Stanford, the Virality Project, and the censorship of true stories.
Twitter files 19 about COVID-19. Hilarious.
It's been a while since we've done some Twitter files. It's been several weeks. I think Matt Taibbi probably took so long to get to it because, he was getting questioned by Congress about reporting, being a journalist. The release of Dr. Anthony Fauci's spring 2020 emails has been used to exacerbate distrust in Dr. Fauci. That is a quote from who? Who said that? Oh, the Virality Project. As if that's a bad thing.
No big pharma here.
Could you imagine? Like what are they really saying there? Like the secret emails, right, of Dr. Fauci were used publicly to sow distrust in the institutions, right? Well, it's like, if he didn't do anything wrong, then right? Isn't that what they told us? Isn't that what they were telling us with the Patriot Act, right? If you don't do anything wrong, you have nothing to hide.
Yeah, we just built the AI future. The AI in the future that fucking censors my free speech on the internet.
That's incredible. Could you believe they used the release of the Fauci emails to show exacerbate distrust in Fauci? Yeah, well, he shouldn't be untrustworthy.
Yeah, I wonder if the trust was higher or lower when he lied to Congress.
Several times.
Which, once again, I said the other week, is lying to me. I don't even care about them lying to Congress. You lie to me.
Reports of vaccinated individuals contracting COVID-19 anyway, natural immunity suggesting COVID-19 leaked from a lab, even worrisome jokes. I'm assuming these are things that all should have been censored. All were characterized as, quote, potential violations or disinformation events. Ooh. By the Virality Project, a sweeping cross-platform effort to monitor billions of social media posts by Stanford University, federal agencies, and a slew of often state-funded NGOs.
So Stanford University and state-ran entities were running a billion-user think tank, basically, to censor information on COVID-19.
Yes, but luckily, much to Sam Harris's joy, AI is going to be doing this in the future, so it's no problem. At least we won't be wasting all these taxpayer dollars on it.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to own the AI, David.
Just before Schellenberger, who also had to testify, as he says, and I testified in the House last week, Virality Project emails were found in the Twitter files describing stories of the vaccine side effects as actionable content. Interestingly enough, and I'm sure this only happens on things like Twitter, because we had that video on YouTube that got taken down and was one of our strikes that we're waiting to become not a strike. It was about COVID vaccines. We've since learned the Virality Project in 2021 worked with government to launch a pan-industry, multi-industry, monitoring plan for COVID-related content. At least 6 major internet platforms were, quote, onboarded to the same JIRA ticketing system, daily sending millions of items for review.
Millions. There is not that much misinformation in the world, I assure you.
Daily.
There's really not. It's just not even real.
Think of that number. Daily. Millions daily. Crazy. Though the Virality Project reviewed content on a mass scale for Twitter, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Medium, TikTok, and Pinterest, it knowingly
holy fuck, that is literally the Ministry of Truth.
It knowingly targeted true material, and legitimate political opinion, while often being factually wrong itself.
First Amendment protects all speech, David. I know we know this.
Mm-hmm. We certainly do, yes.
Dude, it's crazy to think that they only want you to have freedom of speech if it's... You're only allowed to free speech if it's right. It's just...
Oh, yeah, you can have all the free speech you want. It just has to be very certain speech that we allow. It's just like Ryan, it's the same thing with the Second Amendment. We do it already. You have the right to own a firearm. It just has to, be semi-automatic and, only hold 6 rounds and...
stored in a separate container 100 feet from your home.
Keep your ammo in a safe and the gun in a different safe, and they have to be on different floors. And you have to, certainly you have to be licensed of some type. And if you want to carry it out in public or concealed, you're going to have to get some type of permit for that. We have the right to firearms, though, Ryan.
Yeah, it's unalienable too, right, David?
This story is important for two reasons. One, as Orwellian, proof of concept, the Virality Project was a smash success. Government, academia, and the oligopoly would-be corporate competitors organized quickly behind a secret, unified effort to control political messaging.
How does that not sound like the New World Order?
Well, that's a conspiracy, right? Two, it accelerated the evolution of digital censorship, moving it from judging truth to untruth to a new... I love that they're creating words. To a new, scarier model, openly focused on political narrative at the expense of fact.
I love that they also admit that soon they'll just do physical censorship.
It's the town square.
That's the Black Panel vans, David. Don't take any free Ubers from the government.
They're eventually just going to start beating you literally in the town square.
Yeah, don't just get on a train car. It's not going anywhere. Hey, why is there no seats in here?
These are all the people who don't know history. The beginning, on February 5th, 2021, just after Joe Biden took office, Stanford wrote to Twitter to discuss the Virality Project. By the 17th, Twitter agreed to join and got its first weekly report on the anti-vax disinformation, which contained numerous true stories.
So this is like a week after Biden was sworn in?
Yeah.
Wow, these people move fast, David.
February 22nd, 2021, Stanford welcomed Twitter veterans like Yoel Roth. Oh, there they are again. And Brian Clark, instructing them on how to join the group JIRA system. You can watch a Zoom video about it. March 2nd, 2021, we are beginning to ramp up our notification process to platforms. In addition to the top 7 platforms, VP soon gained visibility to alternative platforms such as Gab, Parler, Hello, Telegram, and Getter. Near total surveillance of social media landscape.
Near.
Except for Truth Social wasn't on there. I see that. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah. Acting like the people that, like a million people is on a platform isn't a lot anymore. This is good, gnarly, man.
Through July of 2020, Twitter's internal guidance on COVID-19 required a story of demonstrably false or contain the assertion of fact to be actioned. But the Virality Project, in partnership with CDC, pushed different standards. Some of their phrasing is just wild, the way they're controlling language.
It's got to be military terms.
Untruth.
Negative truth, David?
Adversarial, what was it? Adversarial narratives.
Yeah.
VP told Twitter that true stories that could fuel hesitancy, including things like celebrity death after vaccine, interesting, or the closure of a central NY school due to reports of post-vaccine illness, should be considered standard vaccine misinformation on your platforms. This is them dictating to the social media platforms. Again, this is why we said when Twitter had to go in front of Congress, I get it. It's nice. It's cool. We have a victory lap. But who's really doing the controlling here? Twitter's taking orders at this point. What they should have said was to fuck yourself. We're not doing it. We're a platform and people are going to post whatever they want. That's what they should have said. But what they did was bow down and take it.
Or was it the millions of dollars, tens of millions of publicly funded government dollars, David, that helped make that decision?
I'm sure it did.
Dude, also, Stanford and the government worked with social media to combat misinformation on a vaccine that was made by Big Pharma.
That's right.
Holy hell, man. And we're the conspiracies. We're the conspiracy theory. And then the guy that I go to and ask, hey, Sam Harris, how you feel about this? Shush. It's disinformation.
Shut up, you Trumpian.
Yeah, I'm just asking questions, bro.
In one email to Twitter, VP addressed what it called the vaccine passport narrative, saying concerns over such programs have driven a larger anti-vaccination narrative about the loss of rights and freedom. Well, this was framed as misinformation, a misinformation event even.
People in Australia had to take pictures of their face. Like,
yeah, what was the story we did? Where was that?
They were in a concentration camp. They
went outside. There was another one. I can't remember what it was. There was a tracking or something, and the cops told him he couldn't leave his house or something. I don't remember the whole story.
I thought you were talking about when the Chinese just welded the door shut on apartment buildings.
The robots' dogs were going down the road. VP routinely framed real testimonials about side effects as misinformation from, quote, true stories of blood clots, which we talked about. Vaccines to New York Times story about vaccine recipients who contracted the blood disorder. I'm not going to try to say that. It's because I'm not an intellectual, Ryan, and I cannot pronounce words with 4 syllables.
We're just pseudo-intellectuals, David.
Thromboxytopenia. Sounds right. March of 2021, Twitter personnel were aping VP language. Aping?
Gaping?
Okay. Well, hello. Describing campaigns against vaccine passports, fear of mandatory immunizations, and misuse of official reporting tools as potential violations.
Dave, you don't got to be scared about forcibly vaccinating them. They just put them in the mosquitoes.
I hate that that's a real thing. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's the most craziest shit I ever heard. I heard that, whatever.
We literally couldn't come up with conspiracies that are as wild as things that actually are true.
Yeah. Don't underestimate the military.
This echoed a report to Twitter by the Global Engagement Center, Russia-linked accounts. While this account posts legitimate and accurate COVID-19 updates, it posts content that attacks Italian politicians, the EU, and the United States. So even though it's true, the narrative is attacking the government. I'm assuming that's what that means, right? While the account posts legitimate and accurate COVID-19 updates, it also posts contents that attacks Italian politicians, the EU, and the United States.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, if you have the correct information and the politicians and the countries are going against the correct information, I don't know. I assume that you should be able to confront them with the battle of ideas, with the First Amendment, so that for the record, set everybody free with the truth.
Yes. So for the record, it's not information, but we're taking it down anyway because it's anti-government. That's basically what that says. I mean, that's fucking crazy.
Dude, I wonder if the artificial intelligence in the future is even going to let me get out of bed and think my own thoughts anymore.
No chance.
We're just going to combat misinformation before it even happens.
That same GEC report found in the Twitter files identified former Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte, who and former Italian Democratic Party Secretary Nicola Zingaretti, who's been compared to Bernie Sanders, oh my, as highly connective accounts in Russia-linked network. The Virality Project helped pioneer the gauging of disinformation by audience response. If the post-vaccine death of a black woman named Doreen Keyes in Virginia went unnoticed, inspired mostly anti-vaccine comments on local media, it became a disinformation event.
Disinformation, but they weren't talking about something?
If the post-vaccine death went unnoticed, it became a disinformation event. What? That's wild.
I wonder why.
VP warned against people just asking questions. Oh, there you go, Ryan. There it is. You're just talking about, we're just asking questions. VP warned against it. Virality Project.
Christ.
Implying it was a tactic commonly used by spreaders of misinformation. Damn it, Ryan, you son of a bitch. It also described a worldwide rally for freedom. Oh, imagine the horror.
Hey, David, I'm sure if I just have guns and bullets in a Wyoming cabin that I'll just be able to ask questions over there. There will be no downfall.
So now everyone, just for the record, when Ryan ever says, I'm just asking questions, just remember he's implying that he's spreading misinformation. Asking questions is spreading misinformation. Don't do it.
But trust the science. I'm trying to ask the scientists the questions.
No, that's almost always reportable. It encouraged platforms to target people, not posts, using Minority Report style pro-crime logic describing repeat offenders like Robert Kennedy Jr. It spoke to a large volume of content that is almost always reportable.
Robert F. Kennedy, the guy that Trump appointed to look at the vaccines, not saying that's good, bad, or ugly or whatever, but
I think, Brian, you brought up Minority Report on the program in the past.
Yeah. I wonder why. It's not important. Why would we write a book about something that's not here? It's just a fantasy story, David. It would never happen in America. This could never happen here. We have the First Amendment.
A lot of these things I'm reading, Ryan, are linking to you. I'm just saying.
I can ask all the questions I want in America, David, to get all the information I need to make educated decisions for me, my countrymen, and my family and job.
That sounds like a dangerous freedom cry. VP was repeatedly extravagantly wrong. In one email to Twitter on misinformation, it spoke of wanting to hone in on an increasingly popular narrative about natural immunity. Remember, we talked about natural immunity when it first hit, and everyone said that that's not real, even though it's real for every other virus that's ever happened.
Yeah, the only reason people said it wasn't real, David, is because they just hyperfixated on it. They just told us. This is so crazy. Dude, that is crazy. They targeted natural immunity? Nah, this isn't real. That's how all our ancestors got here before vaccines. Holy shit. You're going to tell me that breast milk doesn't help fight natural immunity either, that all the mother's milk that transfers to the baby, it doesn't give them more boost in their immune system. That's what you're going to tell me next. That breast milk doesn't help babies. God damn it.
The VP in April 2021 mistakenly described breakthrough infections as extremely rare events that should not be inferred to mean vaccines are ineffective. Later, when the CDC changed its methodology for counting COVID-19 cases, that's weird, among vaccinated people, only counting the results in the hospitalization or deaths, VP complained that, quote, anti-vaccine accounts, RFK Jr. and What's-Her-Face, retweeted the story to suggest hypocrisy.
Sounds sexist.
They referred to somebody as What's-Her-Face? This is Stanford and the government? What's-Her-Face? There's no way it says What's-Her-Face. Huh? Is What's-Her-Face like a thing?
Oh, click on it.
I can't. It's a picture, Ryan. It's not how links work.
Well, I don't know. I was just asking questions, David.
Is What's-Her-Face a thing? Or is that like, are they, it's gotta be. A few months later, breakthrough cases are happening. A chilling irony, the VP ran searches for the term surveillance state.
Wonder why?
As an unaccountable state-partnered bureaucracy secretly searched it out, the idea that vaccines are part of a surveillance state won its own thought crime bucket conspiracy.
And they used thought crime in there, too. Incredible. I can't even ask questions, but thought crimes aren't real. Okay.
After about a year, April 26, 2022, the VP issued a report calling for, quote, rumor control mechanism to address nationally trending narratives. And like a, quote, right there, misinformation and disinformation center of excellence to be housed with CISA and the Department of Homeland Security.
They got a little graph for us there, Dave, that shows how they just cycle through corruption and avoid any accountability and skirt the truth and the American people.
So a rumor's detected, the response threshold is triggered, a fact is published, a fact is amplified, and the reaction is measured.
I would not be surprised if you were to like get into a government database that is literally out of a DHS handbook for military.
The next day, April 27, 2022, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced in a House Appropriations Subcommittee hearing that a disinformation governance board had been created to be headed by the singing censor, Nina Jankowicz. We talked about the disinformation board right when it was announced, and then it was unannounced shortly after.
Yeah, I'm sure they just shut the whole thing down, David, even though they set aside, I'm sure, millions of dollars in funding for nothing, right? They just maybe they just changed the name,
Thank God that the Disinformation Governance Board didn't go through. Imagine how bad it would be.
It kind of reminds me of when the NSA first released the logo of what they were going to have for the NSA of like an eagle jacked in with wires, and it got the wrong idea. Like, wow, this is people aren't happy about this. Should probably tone this one down.
Even in its final report, VP claimed it was misinformation to suggest the vaccine does not prevent transmission. or that the government was planning to introduce vaccine passports. Both things turned out to be true. The Virality Project was specifically not based on assertion of fact, but public submission to authority, acceptance of narrative, and pronouncements by figures like Anthony Fauci. The project's central animating concept was you can't handle the truth.
Wait, did they just admit they used Fauci to lie to me because I was asking questions about the vaccine and whether or not the vaccine actually did stop the spread of the virus?
Kinda.
Because I believe I got COVID. I can't prove this, YouTube or World Health Organization, but I'm pretty sure I caught COVID from somebody that was vaccinated.
Impossible. Not even possible. Everyone went on TV and said that you can't even transmit it.
I'm still waiting for people to take down their vaccine pictures and say, we're doing this to all be together soon. It was so long ago, people forgot people did that. Yo, that might be the craziest Twitter files yet. I know,
that one's up there.
I know we say it every time because they just keep getting literally crazier.
These aren't even Fauci files. These might be like Fauci files light. You know what I mean? Like the warm up to Fauci files. Because they say Fauci files are coming. I don't know.
Something you got to think too, like there's always the November surprise. I know it's March, but Elon isn't dumb. You know, he might just be like slowly cranking this dial up, and then it's just going to be a explosion.
It would be like a reverse. It'd be like a reverse of the last election when they hid all the stories about Hunter Biden and his laptop and stuff. It'd be a reverse of that. They would just let all of this explode like 2 weeks before the election. Just all of this information just burst through the pipes.
Yeah, you know, and then
and what are people on the left going to say? Are they going to say that Elon did he control narratives and change the outcome of the election? Because they better not. They better fucking not.
David, they were saying that before he even got the thing from Twitter. They're saying he's a right winger that's going to use it to like brainwash people. I'm paraphrasing here, but we've seen that get painted. Once again, Elon getting Twitter isn't just because he wants to release the information. Like, I'm not dumb enough to think that Elon's doing this for the public good. But I think Elon sees the writing on the wall. Like, you don't put the toothpaste back in the tube. They lied so bad that a billionaire that's obsessed with landing rockets on another planet was like, maybe I should release all this information. Like, that guy, he doesn't have to do this. He didn't have to do this.
No, not at all.
Which makes me think, why are you doing it? Then again, I can't even ask questions without it being labeled disinformation, David. Dave Ryan, December 1773. Catch us Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I will be there. Dave will be there, as long as we can ask questions. Yeah. Thank you for your time as always, David. I'll catch everybody then.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.